Do you have any records such as emails or memorandums or reports or threats even that you've received after this statement of yours on not only on your life but that of your family? And what pushback have you received
from my colleagues?
Yes.
I have not received any pushback from my colleagues directly. I like to believe indirectly, yes, I did, except Jairus Bia, who went on a national TV and started saying that I want to be a minister, that I shouldn't challenge a minister. I think that's a mistake they made by making a minister to sign a letter thinking we won't challenge it. That was his mistake. He thought we cannot challenge that because it's signed by the minister, and he was wrong. So other than him, the rest of the colleagues that directly coming to me with things, no, I cannot say there was any pushback, but there's been a lot of pushback indirectly through the journalist. A lot of media stories written. Some of those journalists that wrote bad things, they're starting to change their tune now. And they start connecting the dots themselves, which is interesting for me because, well, if they made a mistake, they must acknowledge that and be objective about things. That is just one, but it remains known that there is a relationship between some of the police officers with some people out there that speaks a lot. Whether those people that speaks a lot, they are doing those things being informed by police officers or not, I cannot confirm for now. But I know that Mr. Paul O'Sullivan is one of the very close friend of Jairus Bia, business partner, doing whatever thing they do together. The intelligent man in the country that is allowed by the state security or the intelligence community of this country to do as he pleases in this country. Because he brings in listening devices, he does as he pleases. And nobody bothers challenging him. And that is unfortunate. So he's one of the people that came very vocal on TV shortly after I made that press briefing. So whether was that voluntarily to defend Bia or was it due to Jairus Bia asking him to do that, I don't know. But I know very well that there's been a pushback indirectly from some of my colleagues.
Thank you, General. General, then I'm going to go to the allegations that you've made against my colleague, Dianne Kohler Barnard. You've accused her of misusing intelligence information. Have you seen any official classified documentation that is labeled with the information on that you cite is in fact being classified?
The list of the properties that were bought by crime intelligence are part attached to a statement. If you're not in possession of the DA statement that she issued, she attached that report. That is on one, which is issued by her. The second one I read to you yesterday. The questions that she asked in your portfolio committee, which she shouldn't have. Perhaps you should have told her that, colleague, this question does not belong. But it went through your portfolio committee to the police, and the response came in the same fashion. So those are some of the one examples that I can bring up now. Anything else that Ms. Barnard might be involved with, I think we'll leave it to a in-camera discussions with the bodies that's supposed to. Because the nice thing is that people travel and they meet. And wherever they meet, there's cameras. Then wherever they meet, there are people that are observing. And wherever they talk, there are footprints left on phones. Even if they delete messages, we retrieve them.
Thank you, General. I just would like to say that you have admitted that the information that you raised in the media statement, which was before the JSCI was constituted, was in the public domain, including the photos, because I went to go and look at News 24's article that came out before the Honourable Member put out the media statement, and the information in actual fact is similar. So she obviously got some of it from the media statement, including the photos, although we didn't, well, let me not say we, whoever put out the statement did not post the photos. So on what basis then do you say that that information that was derived from a News 24 article was unlawfully disclosed if it came from the media itself?
You said, Honourable Member, that is your colleague, so I will not be surprised if you somehow would want to protect her. But awesome. I said yesterday when I presented that Ms. Barnard Honorable Barnard, should be politically correct in this House, that she was sworn in as a member of the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence last year, or previous administration. I'm sure you know that. She was a member there. So she knows what crime intelligence does. So when she becomes aware of this thing from the newspaper, she has an obligation as a lawmaker to approach a relevant committee and say, question number one, how does News 24 get hold of this? That is a responsible lawmaker. How does News 24? You cannot spread crime simply because it's not started by you. If there's a porn movie, someone makes a porn of an underage child, and you receive it and you circulate it further, you are participating in a criminal offense. You cannot use that as an excuse that it was already in the media, so therefore I have a right to share it further. Besides the fact that she was a member of the Joint Standing Committee before it was dissolved. She was there. She's a member of this House of Parliament as an MP, have taken an oath. So having the knowledge of what is happening at the secret fund account and having a knowledge about her obligations as a member of Parliament, and later in the year, in June, she's been sworn in again at the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence as a member there, but she still writes questions about things that does not concern the Portfolio Committee on Police. So I do not know with all what I presented, if there's anything else evidential that I should give it to you that might be of satisfactory to prove that she broke the law.
General, I just want to put it to you that it is our responsibility as parliamentarians to ask questions. I'm just making a statement. It is our responsibility to ask questions and to submit questions and to go to the media. So there's nothing, I mean, you acknowledge that Honorable Kohler Barnard wrote to the Inspector General of Intelligence, which was the correct oversight channel. So there's nothing, what do you think was unlawful about her conduct if she actually did write to the IG as she was supposed to do?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I'm going to repeat again. The evidence I presented before you should be enough to prove that I said she issued a statement with a sensitive information. Her political party, Democratic Alliance, issued a statement and said, when she did that, there was no committee. I came here yesterday and I said, that is not an excuse because she had taken an oath prior to that. So she knows the processes there. The fact that there was no committee is no excuse. But whatever that may be, I passed that. And I brought her back into the time when she was then sworn in the same committee this year. She's a member of that committee. I'm sure you agree with me, Honorable. But she still asks questions that are outside, that are the responsibility of that committee, but she asks those questions outside. What is the reason for that? That which I presented yesterday. 3 questions about these properties, even addresses. So when you ask a question like this in the Portfolio Committee on Police, it's a public thing. You are writing, a person who sees that question is a public thing already. You are disclosing that through the question in Parliament. You cannot therefore come and use a protection of Parliament and say, I'm an MP, I'm allowed to ask questions. You're asking questions in the wrong place. So as an MP, you took an oath, you must be held accountable for it. I think that suffices. I said yesterday, if you want more information for me to share, I'll take you back to my experience in 2011, when the chair of the Portfolio Committee will sit on the high chair and pass questions to her, and the questions come over to the police. We have those records.
I'm sure the honourable member will clarify when it is her turn. General, I'm glad that you brought up the decentralization of the SAPS to provinces as your recommendation, because it's actually a recommendation that we've been making for several years. Please, can you advise if this recommendation is based on your tenure in Pretoria or as a provincial commissioner, and do you agree that the legislation already allows for this?
Well, honorable Chair and members, I'm glad you asked that question. Maybe what is missed people don't understand is my movement in the organization. In 2018, when Gerald Kohler, when the National Commission sent me to KZN to go and act, towards the end of the year of the 2018, the suspended provincial commissioner reached an agreement with the National Commission to exit the service. And then Gerald Kohler approached me and he said, but I spoke to the National Commission that you must stay permanent in this post. And I said, no, I'm not willing to do that. And the minister, I think he would have discussed with the National Commission. I don't know if they discussed, but we were at Gateway in Durban and he had a press conference there. He briefed the media when he was doing the walkabout in December. He made an announcement that I am now appointed permanent as a provincial commissioner. And I had not agreed to it. I had asked two things. I said, do you want me to be permanent here? You're going to have to give me more money so I can leave my house in Pretoria and come and buy property here where I can live. I'm on a top notch as is. I don't know if they will allow me to get into a notch higher than where I am. That's the first problem. The second problem is you rent a place for me in KZN and let me come and work here, but don't tax me on anything for the benefits that I'm going to get by staying in a fully furnished state house if you want me to be the acting provincial commissioner, because I've got a family and the house in Pretoria. I'm not willing to leave it. And so the National Commission then had to make a submission to both the PSA to ask if they can move me on a higher notch, as well as SARS to ask whether can they exempt me from tax. Both responses came in January, February in 2019. They say, unfortunately, we cannot give you a high notch because the second notch from you is the DGs, and there can only be one DG in the SAPS. We can't take you there. The second one is we're not going to give you any excuse in terms of paying tax. If you stay if you get such a benefit, you're going to have to pay tax on. So based on that, they couldn't afford to keep me in Durban. Then I said, okay, well, tough luck, Minister. You should have not gone public about this. Should have waited first. Because the responses came, it was clear that I cannot then stay permanent. That's why I moved back to ORS in July that year when they brought General Jula to come and act. But when I was in Pretoria, I had an experience of 2011 up until 2019. When I was at Pretoria at ORS, I then felt for my own growth. I've been in a top management organization for so long. And I'm kind of familiar with operations at head office. How do you coordinate things and everything happening in the office? I've been involved with a lot of interventions in the country and then abroad. I then wanted to take a challenge of becoming a provincial commissioner because I can see that this is where the rubber hits the tar at the provincial level. The challenges there that the provincial commissioners have that we don't have at the national level. Let me volunteer to be one of them. So I approached the National Commission and said, if there's any vacancy coming up of the Provincial Commission, please send me there. And then the one of KZN was coming up and the National Commission said, okay, well, I'm going to send you there. And there was a delay, obvious, because they must consult the executive in the province until there was an agreement in March that, okay, we can go and start. That's how I went to KZN because I wanted a new challenge. I'm not in a good shape physically as I was when I was in Pretoria. Why I was in a good shape in Pretoria? Because you wake up in the morning, you go to the office at 7:30. Before you get to the office at 7:30, 5 o'clock, you're in the gym. Then you go to the office, you do administration, meetings and everything. 4 o'clock, you're guaranteed you're going home. You can still attend your children's school activities in the afternoon, do homework, whatever, then you sleep. You wake up in the morning. On the weekend, you can plan. If so-and-so has got a party on the weekend, you are guaranteed you are there. This phone doesn't ring. It doesn't ring at all. You can travel the length and breadth of the country. But as a provincial commission, you can't do that. Because the phone rings. The community wants service from you. So you must always be available. There's no time. Every gap you get, the time you are sitting here as a provincial commissioner, you have so many problems in the province that you must travel back as soon as you're done to go and attend to them. So the pressure at the province is that much higher as compared to the national level. So I wanted to feel that let me go there and see these men and women that are fighting with criminals on the ground. How does it feel like? Let me take the challenge. So that's how I ended up taking that position. So in taking that position is because it's a challenge for starters, but secondly, I knew for a fact that it's a 5-year contract. So consciously, I took a decision of going down because I did not want to sit in Pretoria and become a person who just draws a salary until I turn 60. So I knew I go to a province, it's a 5-year contract. The Act says it's a management that must approach you, not you. So I knew for a fact that when I'm here, I must make a difference in these 5 years. And when the 5 years is over, then I'm gone. If the management wants to retain me, they will negotiate with me. If I agree, I'll stay. If I don't agree, then I'm gone. So it's a challenge that I took it on my own. It was not a promotion. It was just a transfer from the head office to go to the provinces. That's why I can sit at the province and still challenge all these people at the head office, because I worked there for many years, and they cannot come and think that they're going to overrule what we're doing at the provincial level. We need to respect the legislation that empowers the provincial commissioners to do policing in the province.
Thank you, General. I just might follow up on that is because I did ask that, do you agree that there is legislation that already allows for the decentralization of policing powers to provinces?
The Constitution talks about one police. And I know that the ruling party at one stage with the minister who came to join us, they were trying to drive this merging of the law enforcement within municipality into the SAPS so that we have one police, because that's what the Constitution says. I'm not a legislature expert. I'm not a drafter of this law. I cannot interpret it. I'm not the court. So whether there is one existing or not existing, I can tell you about the current working arrangement. The working arrangement is that there's one man or woman in charge of the police in the country, and that person reports at the national level, not at the provincial level. The only engagement with the provincial level is informed by the section in the Constitution that allows the executive, in terms of 206, to have an oversight over the police, and allows the provincial commission in terms of 207.3 to engage with a provincial executive once in a while. But there's no budget coming from the province. There's no accounting to the province. Everything is centralized at the head office. That is the current practice. Is that what the law says? Do I interpret it correctly or not? I don't know. But the only thing that I'm saying is that the current words that are written in the Constitution allows this arrangement that you're having. So perhaps the words written in the Constitution must speak differently than what is written currently. I don't know how it's written about health. I don't know how it's written about transport. I don't know how it's written about education. But those are departments that are decentralized. But the police is directed at the national level. So how they operate, how is the act written? I never went to interrogate that. So it's that what I was making an example of. That because of the sheer size of the organization, the workload that exists there, to expect one person to be responsible for that, I think is too much to ask.
Thank you, General. So it is fair to say that you think that the South African police services will benefit through the decentralization of policing powers?
Not the South African police service, but the citizen of the Republic would benefit if we really interrogate, take the lessons from the past. I made an example of the Homeland Security we had then and how it worked. When we moved over into the new system, is it because we did not like what was happening back then, or we just wanted to create something new? We might want to start interrogating those things. And then we look at the international setup in different countries. How to better manage the sheer volume of work. Get expert academics from different universities might come with a better formula. And then we don't look at it political. We look at it in terms of the benefit to the citizens. What should be done? So that is not one party driving it, but it's a collective of government that says this will benefit the citizens of the country. That's the structure it in this fashion.
Thank you very much, General. Thank you, Chairperson. I'm finished with my questions for now.